But let's now go to the coalition response to this budget, and Shadow Cabinet is meeting as we go to air, framing their budget in reply that'll be delivered by Peter Dutton in Parliament tomorrow night. You'll catch that live here on Sky. Now, when I caught up with Shadow Treasurer Angus Taylor just a short while ago, I started by noting how after Labor broke an election promise so it could reduce tax cuts for high income earners, it seems strange that they're now handing out taxpayer-funded energy rebates to everyone, including millionaires and billionaires.
That's exactly right, Chris. Help with their power bills, but also provide them with production tax credits, which is a policy that we haven't seen before. And to put that in perspective, that means every unit of production of these businesses, often owned by billionaires, are going to get a big subsidy from the government. So this is a very different approach. But can I step back for a moment and say what is the real problem with all of this, Chris, is this is a big spending budget. You're seeing Labor massively increasing the amount of spending, $315 billion since they came to power, and it's increasing over the next couple of years sharply. That's because there's an election coming up. It's a political budget, and that's inflationary. They're throwing fuel on the inflationary fire. Of course, they haven't delivered on their energy price promises. We all know that because we see that in our electricity bills, and they're promising this so-called relief. They're putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, but the underlying problem is they have absolutely failed to slay this homegrown inflation, which has been raging on their watch.
There's no doubt about that. But when it comes to this $300 energy rebate, is there any way that you can force the government to means test it?
Well, we're certainly asking the questions, and we'll keep asking the questions about how they're proposing to do it. They're proposing to put it in people's energy bills, from what we can understand, and that would be very difficult to means test. And they want to do it that way because they think they can artificially reduce the price index. So it's all a bit of a con. It's all a bit of smoke and mirrors. And really what they're trying to do is buy an interest rate cut, Chris. But the truth is the Reserve Bank will see through all of that. But the idea again that billionaires should get a $300 price relief and they should get these production tax credits. I mean, seriously, we need a budget for the battlers, not a budget for the billionaires.
Yeah, well, I said at the outset of this program that this was a trick to try and force down the statistics, force a sort of a trick reduction, if you like, in inflation. The RBA will surely know that a lot of people will spend any savings elsewhere. Plus, at the end of the year, when this rebate only lasts a year, then power prices go back up again and you're stuck with the same problem, surely.
Exactly right. So at the very best, it defers. It only defers inflation. That's going to happen anyway. The RBA will see through it. They look at underlying inflation, not headline inflation. So they'll see straight through this con job. And Standard & Poor's have told us that as a result of this budget, they expect that there's more upward pressure on interest rates. And they're not the only ones saying it. This is a budget that has thrown fuel on the inflation fire, and that means there's more pressure on interest rates to stay higher for longer. And every Australian pays a high price for that. Australians are poorer under Labor, and sadly, this budget is not going to alleviate that situation.